friends, and welcome to my very first booktube video. I have been watching booktube for years, and my love for reading has been cultivated by watching people talk about their love for books. So I figured I would take the dive, and it's going to be a new year, so I'll finally get into talking more about the books that I love and sharing my life with you guys. I do also have a Bookstagram, so if you want specifically book related content, go ahead and follow me there and we can talk about all the books that we are loving. So happy Monday. I am here at work. I'm currently on my lunch break and I figured I would do some reading. I have my Kindle here with me. Yesterday I finished Alive at Night, which is a childhood best friends to lovers forced proximity, workplace romance, fake dating-esque book, and that was a 5-star read for me. The tension, the banter, the spice was immaculate, and I am head over heels for the love interest Julian, and that book just had me giggling and blushing so much. I haven't read a rom-com that has made me giggle as much as I did reading that book. So if you're on the lookout for a good rom-com, I highly recommend that book. It is indie published and available on Kindle Unlimited, and I'm all about supporting our indie authors, so definitely check that one out. Right now I am reading Until the Stars Fall, which is an e-arc of a fantasy romance that is going to be released on February 2024. I am really enjoying this one so far. It's about a servant who works for Fae royalty, and she's in love with one of the princes. He's honestly such an a-hole, and I despise their interactions with each other because every time they interact, I'm just like, girl, this guy does not love you back. Why are you pining after him? But she does end up in a marriage of convenience type of situation with that prince's brother, and I like him so much more. He gives me Captain America vibes in that he has like a savior complex. He's always looking out for everyone, and you can see he just respects the main character much more than his brother did. I'm excited to continue reading this one, and I'll keep you guys updated on my thoughts. Finally evening time, and I just showered and got ready for the night, and I'm finally cozy in bed. I actually wanted to talk about my current read. I was reading Until the Stars Fall, but my friend Tina convinced me to start a new one with her, and it's actually one that we've been meaning to read, and it's the Book of Azrael. And I am about 10% in, and I am already hooked. This one is an urban fantasy and it has a lot to do with fallen gods, demons. It's giving me very much Crescent City vibes, but it does seem a bit more darker. I know it has a lot of tropes that I love in fantasy, such as like female rage, enemies to lovers, of course, and yeah, overall it's been really interesting. It did take me a while to go from like a rom-com directly into straight, like kind of like an epic fantasy. So I'm in bed, and I'll see you guys in the morning. Day before Thanksgiving, and I'm having a little cozy work from home day. I just wanted to pop in on my break and talk about the book that I am reading, and I'm still making my way through the Book of Azrael, and I'm about 20% in, and I think I mentioned it previously, but it's giving me a lot of Crescent City vibes in that it's an urban fantasy. There's a lot of world building, a lot of names, a lot of different monsters and demons and creatures. Also reminding me kind of like Avengers, Thor, like a Marvel type of world. As we now get the perspective of the main male character, and he is a god, and his world, his planet, is in ruins after a war between monsters and the gods and the celestials, and he's living in like the ruins of that planet. And I was like, wow, this is giving me very much Thor vibes. And that he is just like depressed. You can tell he's going through a lot. He's lost so many people. There's also a lot of people relying on him because it sounds like he's the next king. So it's interesting to see how his perspective and the female main character's perspective is going to intersect, and how their dynamic is going to be like. I'm at this point where they have met each other, and yeah, it's very interesting. It was very much an explosive first meet. So excited to make my way through it, and I'll keep you guys updated. But I did want to show you guys some book mail that I received. Slightly overwhelmed, so we're gonna go through this really quickly. Thank you, Read Forever Publishing, for sending me this huge box of books. First book they sent me is Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. I've only heard amazing things about this book, and I heard it's actually a Raylo fanfic adaptation, so I'm super excited about this. I love Raylo. I also got Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, and I've only heard amazing things about this book. I believe these two are contemporary romances, and super excited for both of them. The next one is from one of my favorite authors, Kennedy Ryan. I believe this is one of her first romance series, and it recently got republished. Super excited. I know this is a very emotional and angsty romance book, as with everything Kennedy writes. This one is Snowed In for Christmas. This looks like such a cute and cozy holiday read. I actually haven't read that many holiday romances, so this would be a good one to cozy up with. The last book they sent over is Lunar Love. It has been on my radar for so long. I'm always interested in romance books by BIPOC authors, women of color, and this one has been in the spotlight for a bit, so I'm dying to get into this romance. The next book I got is from Penguin Random House, and it's The Djinn Waits 100 Years. This is described as a gorgeous atmospheric novel about a ruined mansion by the sea, the djinn that haunts it, and a curious girl who unearths the tragedy that happened there 100 years previous. That sounds very interesting and definitely outside of my comfort zone, so I've been actually wanting to read a lot more lit fic. This would be something that I can dive into. Next book mail is actually a fantasy romance magazine, which I'm super excited about because I haven't heard of such a thing, and I used to be all about magazines when I was a teenager. This was launched by two podcasters, and their podcast is based on Sarah J Maas's books, so I believe it's centered on fantasy romance, obviously, but they have How to Drop a CC3 Drop Party, interview with Thea Guanzon, one of my favorite authors, and I have like all of her books enshrined above me, and winter release must read books, so excited to cozy up with this one. You'll probably be seeing this show up on my Instagram page, but yeah, so excited. The next book mail I got is actually this super beautiful PR box for An Ember in the Forest. This is an indie author. She graciously sent over her box to help promote her book, so thank you, Amelie, for sending this. It has a map. I love fantasy books that have maps in it. It has a beautiful fan art, I don't know if you can see that, and it has such a pretty quote. And probably the coolest thing in here is actually this little Spotify card, because you can just scan it and it connects you to the Spotify book playlist, and I'm all about book Spotify playlists. I feel like it makes the reading experience all that more immersive. So last but not least, we have the beautiful book itself. This is a fantasy romance about a girl who's isolated in a strange forest. All she has, I believe, is like a scrap of paper and a wolf as her companion, and there is a general who has nightmares about that girl. Definitely be reading this, and I'll keep you guys updated on my thoughts. And Simon Teen sent over another box of books. The first book they sent me, I heard this is a really sad and emotional read, so I'm definitely going to have to prepare myself for for that. I'm so excited for it. It's Powerless. You've probably seen this one all over TikTok and Instagram, but this is a fantasy romance with like a Hunger Games trials-esque type of vibe. Last one I got is Betting on You by Lynn Painter. I've actually never read anything by her. I decided to dive into one of her books. I am sorry for this chaotic vlog. It's kind of all over the place. I had meant to vlog for a whole week straight, but that obviously didn't happen. So I'm just going to end the vlog today and start again for the next week. So I did want to end it by talking about the book of Azrael. So I'm about 50% and a little over halfway through, and I am enjoying it a lot. At first I was a bit hesitant because urban fantasy isn't really my thing, but as I start to learn more about Samuel and Diana, the two main characters, I have become so invested in their story and their relationship. So far it has been amazing. I can't put it down. The relationship between the two of them is so cute. It's so sweet because he is a god and he's now in the mortal world and he doesn't know anything. Like, he's been in isolation for centuries and now he's in the mortal world trying to find this ancient artifact, and alongside him is the female main character Diana, who is a monster in the eyes of his people. So their dynamic is interesting in that she's teaching him about the mortal ways, customs, basically just navigating the world, and you can see that he is processing or trying to process a lot of his grief and his pain that he faced in the war between the gods and the monsters. So overall it's actually just a book I wasn't expecting with the vibe and the story, but it has captivated me. I am in love with it. I am so transfixed. I am so interested and can't wait to see where the rest of the story takes me. I am also, yeah, I have two e-readers. I'm also reading The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and it's because I saw the movie last week and I was very hesitant about first reading this book when it came out 3 years ago, because being in the Hunger Games world is very emotional and heavy for me. I grew up reading the series, and when I read something nostalgic, it makes me really emotional for some reason. But seeing the movie convinced me to start it because young President Snow is quite something. And wow, the movie just portrays as less of a villain than he really is in the book, because the book it's different. You can definitely tell this is a villain. So I'm slowly making my way through this book. I'm trying to pace myself because, like I said, it's very heavy. It's a lot to digest and make sense of and process. So I will make my way slowly through this and watch all these President Snow TikToks along the way. So that is it for my very first reading vlog. I hope you guys all enjoyed. I'm going to try to film something more consistent. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoy whatever you're reading. I hope it's a 5-star read, and I'll see you guys around.